Welcome back, everyone, to Hobo's Hollow. I'm still reminiscing and talking about a dear friend of mine, Atomic 67, who was, well, at least my way of thinking was taken away from all of us before his time. Called away, I think, back January 31st, and I know there's been a lot of us that have been missing him, and oh, I'm no good at YouTubing, let alone making a tribute, but this is my fourth episode talking about my friend. I miss him, and it's been hard but enjoyable at the same time to kind of reminisce and think back on some memories that I've had with him, and to share some of those with you. And I'm sure anybody listening that had interactions with him, as I know he knew a lot of people and was friends to so many, you could have your own videos and share stories. And I'm really, looking at my notes here, I don't have a ton more to say or to share here. But I did also want to mention his generosity as a person. I am obviously recording this video. I have my own little tiny YouTube channel. He, at the end of his, I think he had over 3,800 subscribers. I have a mere 100 and some at this juncture. And kind of in getting into YouTubing, I don't know. I already know, hey, I'm a boring accountant. I don't have much to say. Part of my reasoning for wanting to do some of this was to force me to use my voice, force me to talk, as I think it'll help me in my occupation. And some of it was to create something my children, maybe one day when it's my turn to go, just like Atomic has, that they'll have a record of their dad saying something, even though most of what I talk about it here is just malarkey, these past few episodes notwithstanding. So that's kind of the motivation I've had, and you probably won't ever hear me say like and subscribe and all that jazz. I figure if people want to, they'll watch it, and if they don't, they don't. But all that to say is, Atomic was mentoring me a lot on this, and some may say, well, maybe he didn't do a very good job at it if you're not very popular. Well, and what I always told him is you can't turn a sow's ear into a silk's purse. You can't, some of this I think you either have or you don't. He was just extraordinarily gifted at his craft, and his ability to speak, to create stories, to be able to do stuff in here and interact or talk while he's doing it all. And I'm not sure I can even walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. So, that's kind of foolish looking at it that angle. But he was just really good at it and a very patient mentor, and he helped me a ton. These videos, as I'm recording them right now, can't see it, but in all of these, when they come in, he made me an animation for my channel. I didn't ask him to do it, he just did it, because that's the kind of person that he is. And he also made me an outro, of course, because he stopped me, he says you need to have an intro, something that gets them situated, not too long, not too short. You gotta have a thumbnail on your video so people come and look at it, a reason to come watch it. All these important things that he had learned over time and having his YouTube channel, he was trying to teach to me and pass it on to me. And I don't know that I still know the total value of what he shared with me. It's because, I'm ignorant. I got into this kind of just as a lark, and I do it for fun and for some of the reasons, that I mentioned a little bit ago. where he was much more disciplined and serious about it than I probably ever will be, and his quality barometer was a lot higher than mine. But he was just trying to help nurture my talent in that, if you will, and I'll never be as talented at it as he was. He just gave to me tons and tons of counsel and advice, and even the raw pieces, the raw materials to make these things. Templates and guides on how to put together a thumbnail, how to edit them, how to lots of stuff, and just a wonderful friend. And I know I am not the only one that he did that with. There were some other YouTubers that he helped. Some have even acknowledged, that they got some artwork that he created for them. I've met so many people now that have a logo or something that he created 100% for free. I mean, it's like he had a wellspring of creativity that just never ran dry. And there were so many people that benefited from it. And I remember the logo that I use now, the AK logo, is the second one that he made for me. He made a different one for me at first. And I remember just kind of by chance finding somewhere online that someone else had picked up the exact same logo that he had made, and they changed the colors a little bit, and then were using it. And I know it was kind of irritating to him because, well, he worked to create it, and what it means is someone basically stole it. So, but, I mean, undeterred, he made me a brand new one, and like I say, it's like he never ran out of ideas, and he was just so kind to help me craft my identity, if you will, in YouTube. And like I say, I wasn't the only one, and in this here, this is one area maybe where I would stand up for my friend a little bit. There were people who basically took advantage of him. And he wasn't a complaining type person, if you will, but I think what he is he's a friend. And if he, like any of us would, if we do something for someone that we consider a friend or give them a leg up, common decency says well, number one, you say thank you. Maybe number two, you give credit where credit is due. And any of us that have been in the modding world, I mean, we know this firsthand. Where you send out a mod and then some other person out there, for whatever reason, they pass it on as if it's their own, or they tweak it a little bit, and there's a new copy, and they just take credit for your work. And it doesn't feel very good. And I haven't done a lot of stuff in the YouTube arena, which is where he spent most of his time in the gaming area. But I know there's people that have his stuff, and kind of like he would put it is when they became famous or outgrew him, if you will, they would drop him like a hot potato and would never say hello, or he'd send them a message and they just wouldn't return it or wouldn't give him the time of day, and which is unfortunate. And you know what, some of it may not be the fault of the people that he helped. I surely, with just a handful of subscribers, I'll be perfectly able to answer any message that any of them might send, or any comment. But once you get thousands and thousands and thousands of them, I could see where that'd be pretty hard. So maybe some of his reaching out to them after they became, quote, famous, maybe it got lost in the shuffle amongst all the others. But anyway, I know if he had any disappointment, and maybe he'd even be upset that I'm sharing it here. But like I say, I mean, just to stand up for the guy because he was a stand-up person, it's unfortunate that he was treated that way, and that his generosity was occasionally trampled on or taken advantage of. But I will say this about him: in spite of that, it didn't stifle his generosity or change him as a person. There's a lot of us that when something happens, we can become bitter, we can withdraw, we can quit, whatever it is. And all I'll say is he didn't judge me based on the past encounters he had with other people who ripped off his ideas or took his stuff and then ceased communicating with him. He just took me as who I was, and we had friendship. So, but there are a lot of folks in the farming sim world that, even though they have much larger channels than he ever had, they owe a certain amount to him for some of the help that he gave them along the way. And I know most of us, we have so much pride, we think, well, I'm the one that did it, I'm the one that put in all the work, why I deserve the credit. It's just simple pride, I guess, but like I say, I'm just trying to pay tribute to someone that I know has helped me a ton. So I have no clue how to do animations. He had some special software in which that he did this, and some of those you could see he was really getting very good at it. Like if you look at his Percy Wyatt channel, you can see how he's animated, even on the shorts. And I have no idea how much time it takes to do that. And I look at the animation that he gave me, the one that kind of came on the front of this video. I mean, I'm just amazed at it, because I wouldn't have a clue how to do it, how to make this little tree grow from nothing. But he just did it over and over. And if you look through the history of his videos, he was like so many brilliant, talented people. He was never satisfied with what he put out. And some may say, well, that isn't a good trait, to be unsatisfied. I don't mean it that way. It's just he was continually improving what he did. And if you look at the history of his videos and go through them, you will see again and again, very often, he was changing things up, changing the music, changing the video, or changing the animation, if you will, changing his intro, his outro, trying to make it as attractive as possible to those that were looking at it. And in the process, I think he was building, a ton of skill that most of us simply don't have, So just some amazing things that he was able to do there, and that he shared with a lot of us. So, and like I say, he was trying to mentor me on how to do a video, trying to cut it off. I think even half an hour to him was probably too long. I think he was shooting more for 20 minutes on his, all the way down to that. And, he never said much to me about the content itself. And maybe that was coming, if he was still around, he might have had some comments for me on how to spruce that up too. I'm admittedly not a very interesting person, if you will, so he probably, I take that back. I guess he did chew me out one time and maybe he would on these videos too. He said you shouldn't drive a vehicle all over the map while you're recording a video. He says viewers probably want to see something more interesting than that. And I'm sure he's right. I know this was on a Kelvin Valley episode. Actually, I'd done, I think, a couple episodes. That map has many steep hills and deep ditches, and I was having the dickens of a time with a combine wandering off the field, and it would get itself stuck, so I'd have to do a reset, and the reset was clear across the valley. So the combine would end up clear across the map, and I would have to drive this silly thing all the way back over to the field, because I didn't have, and maybe I should have, I didn't have the teleport mod installed, so I would still keep talking, but they would just have to watch me driving. And he says, you probably shouldn't do that. I say he chewed me out. I'm speaking facetiously. He was a gentle person, a gentleman, but that is, I guess, one bit of counsel that he gave. So he was just trying to help me. Oh yeah, that even reminds me of another thing. Oh my goodness, I need to do something with this. Hey, look at this. Woo, we're done raining. He said, and you'll see this history on his channel, where there are subscriber milestones where you would have basically a celebration. And going back through his videos now, I'm seeing this multiple times, where he would reach, I don't know, like 100 subscribers and 1,000, 2,000, maybe somewhere in between, and he would make a special video to celebrate and call out by name many times his subscribers, because he so appreciated them coming to support his channel and what have you. So it was so important to him that he asked me to do the same thing once I reached 100 subscribers. And well, I'm just a fuzz over 100 subscribers, and I really don't have that huge of a following. But he made for me something to help celebrate 100 subscribers, and I gotta say, I'm kind of ashamed to say it because I haven't looked at it yet. He said, not to worry about it. He made this back when I had like 50 subscribers, and said that there was a little something he'd made for when I reached 100. So I got to go check that out as I think on that now, because I for sure want to use what he gave me. So it was just really fun personally to interact with him on this. It was something meaningful to him, I think, to tutor someone, a willing student, if you will. And we just had a ball talking about this through Discord and whatever we were doing. And he was still creating a few videos, putting a couple of them out there, and I was just bombing ahead and recording everything, anything and everything, which means there's probably a whole lot of very bad video out there. Most all the video I make is bad. But he was just patiently helping me with it. And let me tell you something else too about his generosity. And I know not everybody was able to be recipients of it from this regard, but I know I'm not the only one that was. Not only did he give you his time and his talents, when he interacted with you, but he also gave me a whole bunch of hardware that I otherwise wouldn't have. Right now, I'm recording this on my laptop. There was, I think I started talking about this in another video, I never finished it, but this Hobo's Hollow thing was kind of, it was put on hold because I had a major computer failure, and it just blew up my laptop. And I had a dickens of a time getting my data back, and this happened back in December of 22. And so for a while, I had the save game for Hobo's Hollow, and because my computer crashed so hard I couldn't even turn the thing on, I wasn't able to send him the save game so that he could continue the series. So for a while, like I say, it was really just kind of put on ice. There we go. Let me cancel that out. No, let's just leave this out. I'll go try to clean up the corners here. And I think we are pretty well ready to wait for the crops to grow and continue on. But anyway, I was starting to talk about the hardware. And this was a couple years ago that it happened the first time. He asked me, he says, "Do you have a steering wheel?" I said, "Well, no." And honestly, you can probably tell, like in here, for farming sim, most of the time, I just use a good old keyboard. I don't know, it's just kind of what I've grown used to. And even after trying the steering wheel a little bit, I still ultimately prefer to just use the keyboard. but not so for my boys. And, we didn't have one, and he says, well, do you want one? And he up and sends me, at his own expense, ships it to me, this beautiful Logitech steering wheel, and all the parts and everything included. And we get the thing set up on the computer, and I know my boys have had a ball with it. And all for nothing. And I don't know why he did it. It just blew me away that he was just willing. I think he was getting a different setup, or maybe it no longer worked for him. I'm not sure all the reasons. He just decided to give it to someone that he knew maybe would use it or appreciate it. So he sent it to us, and if I was blown away by that, um, I was all the more blown away that a couple of years later, when I think it was when they were moving, it was in between one of their moves, and he told me that maybe it was his wife's computer. They were he was getting her a new one, or maybe it was his old gaming. It's an old gaming computer. I say old. I don't know that it's old, but he shipped it to me from where he is, and he at least let me pay for the shipping. And it was the whole thing. We're talking the CPU, the monitor, and all the parts to it. And I think it was shipped in 3 boxes. And I remember him being very upset because the monitor, for whatever reason, didn't make it. He still thinks that someone at UPS or whatever stole it, and which I guess happens sometime, where they'll steal it. He says some of these shysters do that because they know there's insurance or whatever that'll pay for it, so the consumer isn't affected by it or whatever. So it was a dandy monitor, and somehow they heisted it, or well, that's what he thinks happened to it. So we didn't end up getting the monitor on that, but I have in our home here a PC from him, and I gotta say I still haven't set it up because well, there's a number of reasons. Maybe I don't need to get into them all. I don't know that anybody particularly cares. It has to do with some changes at our office and whatnot that we're going through. I need to bring another desk home and set some things up proper here, so we have a home for it. But I'm going to get to that at some point. But he gave me a computer, and in an earlier episode, I guess I asked the question, what is a friend, or what is friendship? And it's maybe harder to define for many of us than what we would be able to do. Maybe we all have some idea. It's kind of like trying to define what is love. When I was a kid, I probably would have defined love more as a feeling that a person has. Where's the road? There it is. But it's really that way kind of with friendship. As I get older, I've come to learn love isn't a feeling. It's an action. It's something you do for someone else. It isn't something that you just get in return. When you see, do you think a mother enjoys changing the poopy diaper of their baby, or dealing with issues that it takes to raise a kid? That's love. They're doing it because they know it's necessary to be done, and they're willing to, and it's because they care deeply for that little human being that's been put in their care. And I think it's similar kind of with friendship, to where, what is a friend? It isn't just a feeling that you get because you enjoy being with someone. Sure, you'll get that, but it really isn't what it means to be a friend. And so I guess I bring that up here. It's, I am thrilled, to have a gaming computer, and I look forward to getting it all set up. And I guess one reason I really look forward to it is Atomic 67 recorded a special video just for me, and hopefully it hasn't been deleted off of YouTube. It's one of those private ones you can do, and where he talks me through how to set it up. And I've already listened to it. I wanted to just hear his voice again. So, but I'm looking forward to setting all that up. But I wasn't friends with him because he gave me stuff, or the friendship that we had wasn't based on that, if you will. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That probably makes sense. Anybody that's ever had a cherished friend should know and understand, I think, what I'm getting at. Where did I leave the door open? No, what building did this come out of? Maybe it's at the other end over here. But that's just the kind of a person that he was. Oh, must not have been this one. Telling me I get turned around in here. He just was a generous person who gave, and I think in being just who he was, it taught me a lot about what friendship is or means. And I don't have a lot of friends. And also, when you talk about generosity or giving, I couldn't outgive the guy. And because, it kind of got to be a running joke, where he had this, what was it called? Coffee, something or other set up where you could give him a donation. So I would donate to him from time to time. And when I say donate, I mean it'd be something substantial to put in there. Maybe a few people would put in a few bucks. I would put in like $100. And I'm not saying that to draw attention to myself, but remember, this guy had already given so much to me already. This was one way I figured I could give back to him. And sometimes he would force me to take it back. I think I tried to reimburse him for the shipping cost right away when he told me he would give me this computer, but then he wasn't quite ready to send it. He says, "Oh, I need to send this back to you, to make, because we got to move and all this, that, and the other." There always was a reason. But one of my greatest privileges was to be able to give him a Christmas gift. I got kind of a backline, if you will, with his better half, and I said, what is something he would really enjoy? And she gave me an idea, and so I got him something, and it basically was just some money in game. When he named his channel Atomic 67 Gamer, well, it was for a reason. He enjoyed gaming, and so I got him a gift to get more games, and I'm just thankful, he was able to do that or enjoy some of those before he passed away. So, but it's fun as friends to give to the other person, and the excitement you get to wait to hear back as to whether they liked what you got for them. I don't know, I really appreciated those times with him, getting to have some of that, and in my own naivety, I kind of thought, I'm 48 years old. It's like, this is just awesome. I have a friend. He's going to be with me for decades, and we're just going to enjoy this. I already was thinking in my head, when's the next time I can go down and see him? He called himself at times kind of an old soul, like he was born in the wrong era. Well, we're all born in the era we're supposed to be born, and I'm sure he would say that too. But for example, he loved Route 66, which was an old highway in the U.S. And through his love of that, I started looking into it too, and I gotta say, I'm just fascinated with it. One of the things I thought of is, based on where he lived, is at some point to plan a trip to go down there and start looking up, as many people have, some of those old segments of Route 66, drive down some of them if we could, do whatever, and, it isn't going to be. And like I say, you can have all these plans, and you never know what's going to happen in the future. So there is so much more to Atomic than can be said in his videos. I mean, shoot, this is my 4th episode talking about him, and 4 episodes, it doesn't encapsulate what the man was or what he meant to me or to his family. It just can't. He just was an amazing person, amazing friend. I'm gonna miss him, and that's really the long and the short of it. I hope someday, I do know he was a Christian, and so am I. And a Christian lives with the hope of seeing people that they loved in this life, that if you believe that someday you can be together in the presence of God with those that you love. And you know what? I'm hoping I get to see him again. That's a hope that I'll take with me, even though he isn't here any longer. So I guess with this, I will say farewell, farewell to a wonderful friend. Um, and I'm thankful also to be able to have a friend in his wife. I've enjoyed interacting with her, even as you know, trying to deal with some of the fallout of with her husband passing, and I'm just so thankful to be there for her. It's the least I can do for my friend, and like I say, I'm gonna miss him, but have lots of memories, have lots of videos we can go back and listen to, and just would encourage all of you. I guess my parting words would be, those that you love, those that are your friends, don't take them for granted. Tell them how much they mean to you while they're still around. Because just like this was a surprise to me, you know, one day can change everything that you thought maybe would continue for generations. So with that, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.